Everybody, and welcome to our presentation today on thinking ahead while abroad. I'm here presenting with my colleague Sam Abbey. We are the two global research and internship advisors for the Office of International Education, and we are talking today about ways to best utilize your time that you'll be studying abroad as a way to prepare yourself for potentially an internship or research experience post your study abroad experience. We're going to go through some tips and tricks on how to best set yourself up for an internship or research experience, and also show you some resources that you can be using while you're abroad to go ahead and get that process started. There's no better time to search for an international internship or research experience than when you're actually abroad. You can really tap into a lot of resources that you wouldn't be able to necessarily while in the States. And so let's get started. So in terms of kind of some general tips and tricks, we always recommend for students preparing for global internships to create their own personal tracking spreadsheet. This means that as you are looking for opportunities, as you're exploring different companies, different research institutes, you are really keeping a good record of different opportunities as they become available. Things that you might explore would be companies, if there are research projects at the university where you're studying, if there are different industries that you can research while you're abroad, and obviously network connections. And particularly, while you're studying in another country, you can explore things on the ground, really connect with your local university, see if maybe they have a career office, talk to your professors at your local university and see if they have recommendations on, what does the industry look like within your field that you'd want to get into? Do they know of any companies that might be specific to that country that you could look into? Definitely have your resume ready to share whenever possible. Resumes, we're going to show you a resource that can help you figure out how to tailor your resume for a specific country and culture. And then once you get that all situated, you want to make sure you have it ready to go, because you never know when you're going to form a connection with someone who might be a potential employer or someone who could just, form your network within that country. We're going to show you some tips and tricks on exploring the Global Research and Internship Program website. And of course, while you're abroad, the beauty of virtual advising appointments is that you can actually set up appointments with either myself or my colleague Sam while you are studying abroad to talk about different ways to be searching for your internships or research experience. So how to go about networking while abroad. There are a lot of different tactics that you can take. Networking is definitely one of those words that I think makes a lot of people feel very nervous. It makes you feel like you either have to know someone who's really important already or have to go to an event and schmooze with others. But really what networking is about is tapping into communities that you are already a part of. And regardless of whether you are overseas or in Atlanta, you are a part of the Georgia Tech community, and there are some great resources that you can tap into. First of all, our alumni. The Alumni Association actually has a page of regional networks that you can look into to find different alums in your area, and we highly, highly recommend reaching out to those alumni while you're abroad. To try to set up maybe some informational interviews or just make a connection, see if there's an alumni presence within that city or country. And it might lead to an internship. It might just be a great way to expand your network. Talk to your faculty and classmates. And this is both, your Georgia Tech faculty and classmates, but especially your faculty and classmates at your international university. Again, just to get in a sense for what the field looks like in that country, and what some differences might be. Say if you're interested in mechanical engineering and studying in Germany, what are some differences you might find in Germany than you would in the US? You also want to see what resources your local university has to offer. So, do they have a career center? Do they have career fairs? Can you meet with an advisor who specifically helps connect their students to opportunities? And then absolutely set up some tours and meetings, informational interviews with local companies. Really capitalize on the fact that you are in that country, that city. So again, if you are in Munich studying, maybe see if you can tour BMW while you're there, or find an alum who might work with that company and see if you can set up an informational interview. Who else you can ask? There are a ton of different ways that you can network. It doesn't necessarily have to just be in country. Talk to professors, roommates, classmates, family members, really put it out there that you are looking for opportunities. And the kind of rule of thumb with networking is the more you put yourself out there, the more you'll see that return on the back end. So you might reach out to 10 different people, 7 won't respond, 2 will say thanks but I don't have anything, but maybe that 10th person will actually have a connection for you, or be willing to be a resource for you. So really, it sometimes takes some energy and some proactivity and some resilience, but the more that you put yourself out there, the more you will see maybe an internship or those kind of results come through in the end. And who do you contact with our office? So my name is Hannah Moon. I advise for our College of Computing students, our College of Liberal Arts students, College of Design students, as well as electrical and computer engineering. And I'm about to pass it off to my colleague Samantha Abbey, and she advises for our College of Engineering students, College of Sciences, and College of Business students. So depending on what your major is, then you'll basically choose to set up an advising appointment with one or the other of us. And now I'm going to pass it off to Sam, who's going to go through some of our specific resources.
Thanks, Hannah. So what we're going to do is quickly highlight some of the resources that are on our website. So the GRIP website has many different resources available. The ones that you guys will find the most helpful are going to be under this Find an Internship dropdown. Here you'll find resources that will help you to find positions that former students have done or companies that have hired students, as well as research positions and programs that are currently available and running. So the first thing I do want to highlight is this internship database. This is going to be a database of all places that tech students have interned in the past. So this is not a running list of current positions, but it is a list of places that have hired tech students previously. What we recommend doing with this is using it and searching by whether you want to look specifically at your major or just the location. So say you are interning in France or you're studying in France, and so you want to see what internship possibilities have taken place in France previously. This will tell you the companies as well as the level of student and how many students we've had intern at that location. And so I recommend using this and doing a Google search for the company names, as well as looking for any contact information to find out when applications might open. And you can utilize this to be as broad or as narrow as you desire, whether that be searching by just the College of Engineering or specifically searching for computer science. You can narrow it down in whatever way you find to be the most helpful. Back on our website, the rest of these resources we won't go specifically into, but I'll talk a little bit about. The first one is the search engines. These will be broken up by region and by country. That is going to help you to kind of narrow down the positions that are available in the locations that interest you the most. Third-party organizations won't really apply to students that are on exchange, so you don't have to worry with this resource. There are some study and intern combination programs. For some of you, you've already been in contact with us about those. If you haven't, it's not something that would apply to you. If research is something that interests you, there are several research programs that we recommend checking out. This link will take you to just a list of programs that are in different locations and tell you a little bit more about the specific time frame as well as the work that's happening. This is going to be a list of global companies. This is a list of these. It's not an all-inclusive list, but it is a list of companies that we know hire internationally, and we've had several students go to a lot of the different companies that are on that list. As Hannah mentioned previously, networking is such an incredible way to find a position, especially for students that are already abroad. And so that GT alumni resource she recommended is here, as well as just information about chambers of commerce and different places that you can go to network. The last thing in this dropdown is Going Global. This is going to be an extremely helpful resource before you go on your program as well as while you're abroad. So Going Global will have a job search and an internship search engine, as well as a list of employers in different locations. And then they have career guides that will give you information about what your resume and cover letter should look like based on the country that you're in and you're applying in, as well as networking information, trade groups, things of that nature. So it's kind of an all-inclusive resource that we highlight for students. The other thing that I'll point out is we do have an expo every year. In October of 2020, we had an expo completely virtually, and so all of the recordings are here. You are welcome to check that out and look at things in preparation for being abroad, as well as this fall, we will have another expo that will be offered in person with virtual options. And so if you just keep an eye on our homepage, you'll find the links to those sessions as well as the recordings after the sessions. And then the last thing I'll point out, as Hannah mentioned, that we are happy to meet with students for virtual advising appointments. You can make an appointment here for meeting with myself or with Hannah. And then we also recommend, if you're not already signed up for our newsletter, to sign up, because this will be just kind of a passive reminder of positions that are already opening up. And so as we find out about positions abroad, we post them in our newsletter. And so, you could find out about a position opening up in the location that you're a student in while you're abroad. And so you would know the companies that are hiring, as well as maybe some people you want to get in contact with. So these are the different resources that we have available on our website. As Hannah mentioned, we are here as a resource for you, and we are happy to help you in whatever ways that we can. And so as you go abroad and start thinking about what long-term could look like for you, whether you want to do a research placement or an internship, please consider thinking ahead while you are there, meeting with your Career Center reps on campus, as well as just doing whatever you can to network and build that community of connections while you're abroad. So yeah, as we mentioned, you are welcome to make appointments with us or set up a time to discuss your specific situation in detail later. Thank you so much and have a good day.